Hey everyone, this is Michelle with Foxy Chick Designs and Magnolia Design Company with another quick project. Today I'm going to be using some ink and a really fun stencil. Just want to wait for a few seconds here and see if anyone pops on. How's everyone doing this amazing Friday morning? I know for my normal viewers, this is a little odd because I'm usually not on this early on a Friday. I'm usually in the office at my other job. But I was able to take a vacation day today to spend some time with my sister, and we've got some plans of some things that we're going to be working on this afternoon or this morning. But I wanted to hop on here because I missed Tuesday night. I'm so sorry. Little update on me. I ended up with an allergic reaction and broke out in a horrible rash. Actually, you really can't see it much anymore, but right in here there's still some part of it. Ended up with a huge rash, ended up having to go to the doctor to get some pretty heavy medicine, and I was homesick on Tuesday because of the medicine. I was given 3 different types, and two of the combination, sometimes people have another reaction to them. So the doctor had me off of work on Tuesday just to make sure that I didn't have a reaction to the combination of 2 of the medicines. But I am getting much, much better. The rash is going away. I had it all around my neck. It was just awful. And just with the dosage of medicine that I had taken, I was just in no position to do a live for you guys. You guys would have laughed your heads off. So anyway, that's an update for me. So I thought I would pop on this morning. Not everybody is up yet in my house. My husband is off at work, and my dad, who lives with us, and my sister, who is visiting, they are both just kind of starting to stir. So giving them some time to get awake and get their coffee and, all the good stuff of morning routine. But so I thought I would just pop on here as a surprise for you guys since I missed Tuesday night, and that doesn't change. I will still come on tomorrow morning for our Saturday morning chalk and sip. So I will be back on tomorrow morning as well. But my sister being here, she has done a bunch of stuff out in my yard, and I now have a flag hook. And with Magnolia, we have these amazing, let me pull it up here, these amazing burlap flags. And they've got the little hole in them here, and that you can put, through the flag hook, and you can hang them in your yard. Well, since I got the flag hook, and I had bought these before I got in the flag hook because I was going to do them for another project, but now that I have my own flag hook, I would like to make my own flag. The particular stencil I'm going to use today, I have not used yet. It's brand new, and why I'm doing it with ink when it's permanent, I'm not quite sure, but we're going to give it a shot. And hey, it's a live video, and that way you guys can see that sometimes mistakes happen. Don't know how it's going to turn out, but we're going to give it a shot. So before we get started, a few little preliminary things. When you pop on, if you will say hello so I know that you're here and that I can welcome you. 2, if you see the little live button right about there, if you will comment #live. If you're catching the replay, not a problem. 1, thank you for watching, and 2, if you would comment #replay, just so I know how you're catching us live. Then if you wouldn't mind, there's a lovely little button down here that says SHARE. If you wouldn't mind clicking on that button and letting your friends in on this amazing company and my videos, or send them over to the Foxy Chick Design business page and give a like and a follow and turn on your notifications. That way you'll never miss any time that I ever go live, and that catches you the live videos, that catches you the anytime I post anything or bundles or anything like that. So those are the preliminaries. The other thing I want to let you know about is we have a brand new Get Started kit for the month of June. Our Get Started kit is $69 and plus tax and shipping, and it gives you all of the things that you will need to get started with your own crafting. You can join as a hobbyist, or you can join as someone who wants to build a business. Either way, I would love to have you on my team. I'd love to get you more information on what all comes in on the kit and any information that you would need to know to join Magnolia Design Company and my team. And so if you are interested in learning more about the company or more about the Get Started Kit, if you will comment team in the comments, and I will get that information right back to you and be willing to answer any questions that you may have. So now to get started. The stencil that I'm going to use today is this one right here, this Gnome and Juliet, and this is the picture of what it looks like in the catalog and what they have used on a, I think it's a bag. Let me see. Yes, it's on one of the little canvas bags. And so that is the stencil I'm going to be using. And here is the stencil itself. As you can see, I have not used it, so it's not cut apart or anything, so we'll be walking through that. This is an 8.5 by 11 stencil, and these stencils are $13.99. Then I'm also going to be using our little 5x7 Home Sweet Home. And these guys are, hold on one second, I will tell you. I believe they're $9.99. Let me double check to be sure. You know what? I will check and I will get back to you on that one. I believe these are $9.99. But I'm going to be just using the Home Sweet Home. I'm not going to be using the greenery around it. So I'm going to pair these two together. And I'm using some... And actually, I'm going to get you guys turned around so that you can see the work in progress. I am also going to be using... I need to pull it out. Our big ink mat. Since I'm going to be working on ink, we have these wonderful little ink mats that are nice and sticky, and they work really well with our stencils and the surfaces. So I am going to go ahead and get you guys turned around so that you can see the project, and we're going to get started. Go. Let me get this is going to be a little bit bigger project, so I want to get you guys up a little bit and adjusted. Let's see here. Sorry, my camera stand is being a little bit difficult here. Okay, so here are my supplies, and we're going to be using the black ink from Magnolia, the raspberry ink, the Wine Lovers ink, and then I have another ink that I just had laying around that I wanted to use with this. It is not Magnolia Design Company, but I really like the color and I just wanted to use it on this because I'm going to be using this in my yard. So I'm going to move these guys over just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my ink mat. I'm going to peel off. There's a protector on it that I'm going to go ahead and peel off. And I'm going to move all of this out of the way and lay down my ink mat. And my ink mat is sticky, as you can hear, so that it will hold the surface that we're going to be using. So then I'm just going to go ahead and lay down my burlap flag, and I did not iron it, so I'm going to go ahead and try to push it out as best as possible on the sticky mat, which is nice. And I'm making sure that the holes for the hook are at the top because I don't want to do this upside down. And so now I've got that all smoothed out just the way I want it. And this just keeps it from moving. When I'm trying to ink, it keeps it nice and secure and doesn't let it bleed through. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up our lovely little Romeo and Juliet stencil here. And I'm going to pull that one out. And I'm going to grab my Sharpie. And of course, it fell. So I'm just going to grab a Sharpie. And I'm going to write on the back here, Gnome Girl, because that's the female on this side. It's Gnone. And then Gnome Boy on that side. Then Girl Hat. Boy hat. Boy nose. Girl nose. And then skirt and shoes. Okay. So this way, when I'm done using the stencil and I have it all cleaned up, then I can put it back on these pieces. And actually, I forgot to label the heart. So it's H-E-A-R-T up the top. I am not actually going to be using that heart today, I don't think. I might. We'll see. So now that this is all ready to go, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in. And if I don't have to cut my backers, I don't. There's these little cut lines right here on the stencil, and so I just lift up my stencil and I run my scissors straight across that line, just like that. And then I will do the same up here at the top. And this one might be a little bit more difficult to do this. Usually if they're just straight across, then I just try, but I don't want to ruin. And if I had my little scissors, it would not be quite so bad. And then I'll just go ahead and, because that way they can stay right on the same backer sheet. Hey Rhonda, how are you? So I'm just going ahead. I do have backer, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and cut this apart because I have other backing sheets that if I want to do this with, I can go ahead and just put them on new backer sheets. So I'm going to go ahead and get these, because had I thought about it, I would have had this all cut out prior to this. So all I'm doing is just cutting on those cut lines that you can see. Oops, sorry you guys. These lovely little cut lines right here. I'm just going ahead and cutting those apart. And they're all labeled, so it doesn't matter too much. So I'm going to get all of these pieces cut apart. I just don't like little pieces laying around, and especially when I'm doing an event or a get-together. So I like to keep my backer sheets whole and keep all the pieces in their little bag. But you can order just straight backer sheets, so if I want to keep this all whole and not have all these little pieces, I can put them on backer sheets. Or if backer sheets get ruined, it's a great way to fix them. Rhonda, I'm doing good. I have a vacation day today, and so I'm going to be working in my yard and around my house with my sister who's in town visiting, and I decided that she had bought me a flag hook for in my yard, and so I'm doing the little burlap flags so that I have a flag for in my yard. So now that all these pieces are cut apart, I'm going to set them aside. I'm also going to pull out my Home Sweet Home. And I've used the stencil prior to this video, so I already have it marked, so it's all ready to go. And I think I'm going to do the Home Sweet Home first, just so I know where I want to put my gnomes later. And that way I'm making sure that I'm not, that I'm leaving enough room for everything. So I'm going to just go ahead, and right here's the stitch line for where the hanger is. And I think I'm going to lay that just right about, I'm going to come down a little bit. I think I'm going to lay that right about there. I'm going to go ahead and get that all smoothed out. And that is not centered on this. So I'm going to try to center this as best as I can. Oh, Rhonda, that's awesome. Well, cool. I'm glad that you'll get to see this one, and hopefully it turns out the way I want it to. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to just get this all smoothed out. And I want to make sure that there are absolutely no bubbles, because I do not want this to bleed at all. And I'm going to do the Home Sweet Home in our Wine Lovers color, which is this burgundy right here. And I've got our little stir sticks out. I'm just going to give that a little bit of a stir. And I'm going to use our little multi-tool because I'm not using the flowers around the edge. I'm just using the Home Sweet Home. Okay, sorry y'all. My puppy got up and I thought he was going to get sick. So I'm just going to dab a little bit of ink on my multi-purpose tool. And I'm just going to go in very carefully. I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. And I'm going to not go over it a lot because I want to go in one direction so that it's not giving it an opportunity to bleed. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I just want to be very careful as I go over this Home Sweet Home. What you can also do is you can tape off the areas you don't want to ink, especially if you're using ink. That way you're not running the risk of like catching those flowers. I'm just being very, very careful and just taking my time. And you don't have to rush with the ink because the ink is not going to dry real quick. So I'm just making sure that I get all of my silk screened areas. Sorry if my head is in the way. I just want to make sure that I get all my silk screened areas, but only the silk screened areas that I want. And I believe that is all done. So I'm going to set that aside. And I'm going to go for my corner, and I'm going to work my way down to the other corner. I'm going to grab from the middle, and I'm going to pull straight up. Oh, I like how that turned out. You know what? I should have probably done the greenery around it. Oh well. I'm not going to lay it back down because I don't want to mess this up. So then I'm going to grab my handy dandy little heat tool and get it plugged in. And I will be heat setting this with an iron and some parchment paper once it's all done. But for right now, I just want to get this dry. Okay, so now that that's done, now I'm going to lay my little gnomes right there and right there. I think I like how this, and you know what, I may, you know what, I might lay this back down just like so. No, I'm not. If I decide to do the flowers, I will do them, and I might just do a set of other flowers, so I'm not going to put that back down. So because I've not used this particular stencil before, I'm going to pull it from the backer sheet and I'm going to stick it to my shirt or a towel or anything that you can pick up just a little bit of lint. And when you're working with harder surfaces, you really want to do that. It's called linting. When you're working with fabric, you don't necessarily need to because you want it to stick pretty well. But because this is a brand new stencil, I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. And it was probably just more out of habit than anything. So I'm going to lay our little girl gnome. You know what, actually, I think I'm going to put the little girl gnome. No, I am going to put the little girl gnome here. Put the little girl gnome here. And then I'm going to get our little boy gnome here. And if you're coming in, if you will say hello so I know that you're here. So I'm going to peel off our little boy gnome. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just throw it on my shirt and pull up some lint. Just so that it does not give me trouble coming back off. And then I'm going to lay him down just like so. And I'm going to smooth them out, making sure that there are no air bubbles in my silk screened areas. So now our little gnomes are on. So now I'm going to grab one of my small squeegees, and I'm going to first give my black ink a good stir with our little stir sticks. Okay. And so then I'm going to just dip my small squeegee into my ink. Just get a little bit, because a little bit goes a very long way. And I'm going to start at the top, being very careful not to go off of this stencil onto the burlap. Because I do not want, because the ink is permanent. So once it's on, it is not coming off. So I do not want to go off this stencil at all and get ink on the burlap anywhere that I don't already want it. So now I'm going to just squeegee up the excess and wipe it back into my jar. Making sure that all of my little silk screened areas are covered. And then I'm going to make sure that there is no ink on your hands. Hey Melissa, thanks for popping on. Make sure that there's no ink on your fingers. And then again, I'm going to just walk up my stencil. Voila! Oh, that is too stinking cute. I'm going to set my stencils aside to be washed. I'm going to grab one of my disinfectant wipes, which are a commodity these days. In my area, I can't find them. When I was in Pennsylvania picking up my sister, I found them everywhere. So I am going to go ahead and wipe off my multi-purpose tool as well, because I'm going to be needing that again. But I am making sure that I do not have any ink at all on my fingers, because it will transfer if you do. I have made that mistake multiple times. So now I'm going to grab my black squeegee again, and I'm going to do our little guy. And actually, I think I might move him over a little bit, because he looks... No, actually, I am going to leave him right where he's at. And I'm going to grab some more of my black ink. And I'm going to start at the top and work my way down, but I'm going to make sure I don't go off that edge at all. Because I do not, because this is permanent. And like with chalkboards, you can use a Clorox wipe and it'll come off handy dandy. On fabric, it is pretty much, if it's there, it's there. Alright, so now I have our little guy gnome done, and I'm going to just go back in and squeegee up any excess ink that is lingering around, putting it back in the jar for another use. And I'm checking my hands, and I've got a little bit there, but I'm checking my hands. See, I've got ink there. I don't want to touch I don't want to try to start pulling up that stencil until I have that ink off my fingers. So I just grabbed just a disinfectant wipe, wiped my fingers, and I'm going to go in, walk it across, pull this guy right on down. You want to just pull straight up. And there is our little guy gnome. So I'll sit that stencil to the side to be washed as well. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to dry both of these again. Because I'm going to be layering some things on these guys. So I want to make sure that these guys are pretty dry. Smudged it a little bit, but you can't really see where I smudged it, so that's a good deal. Yeah. And the ink will take a little bit longer to dry. But like I said, with wanting to layer some different things on here, I want to make sure that these guys are all good and dry. Okay, and I think Yeah, they're good and dry. And I'm going to pull them up and then lay them back down. And they're good and dry. Fabulous. Now I am going to clean off my fingers again because I'm going to continue working. So our black is done, and because I do not want to have open ink laying around, I'm going to get this closed up before I move on to my next color. So I'm just squeegeeing off my stir stick and setting it aside on a disinfectant wipe, and I'm going to go ahead and just put the lid back on that and sit it on my shelf so it's ready for another use. Okay, so the next little part that I'm going to do is I've got their hats. So I've got the little girl's hat that I'm going to lay right down like so. And that's a really big ink area, so I want to make sure that it's all smoothed out, that there are no air holes or air bubbles. Then I'm going to take the little boy's hat, or the man's hat, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just line it up here. And make sure that it's all, and it's not all lined up. Okay. And so the little girl's hat is going to be done in our raspberry. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of this ink, and I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. And a little bit goes a very long way. And I want to be extremely careful that I don't go off the edge of the stencil. But I want to make sure this is all good and covered in. And making sure that all of our silk screened area is covered. And then I'm going to just squeegee off the excess into the jar. And once again, I'm going to walk my stencil down, because you never want to pull from a corner, because you could ruin your stencil. And there's her hat. Then I'm going to grab another squeegee, and I'm going to use our Wine Lovers color, and I'm going to do our man's hat. I'm hearing people starting to stir in my house, so it's a good deal. Alright, and now that all of our hat area is filled in, I'm going to squeegee off the excess. Like I said, it just takes a little bit. A little ink and paste go a long way. Checking my hands every time I'm touching this, because I do not want to transfer ink. And there's our little man's hat. And then I'm going to do, let's see, does it go this way? You know what, I'm not sure. So I'm not gonna mess with the bottom of her skirt or his feet. I'm gonna let his shoes just the way they are. And the same thing with their noses. I'm gonna leave their noses alone. I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. What do you guys think? And actually, I am gonna put this little heart right here. And I'm going to do it in our, I'm going to do it in our little teal color here. And I'm going to use our multi-purpose tool again. Just dip it a little bit. Just making sure that all of that is filled in. And then I'm going to peel this up, and voila. Then I'm going to bring my heat tool in again and get the heart and the hats dried up. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this little heart back in. And instead of putting the flowers up here around this Home Sweet Home, I'm going to go ahead and use this little heart. And I'm going to put it in just the four corners. So I'm going to put that back down. I'm going to grab a little bit of our teal. And go over it. And I'm going to peel it up. And I'm going to put one down here. I'm going to lay it down. I'm just being very, very careful. And I might regret doing that way. But, and if it looks rustic, I'm not real concerned. Like right here, it smudged a little bit. Not worried about that. Not at all. And then I'm pulling it up there. And then I'm going to lay it down again right here. Very, very careful not to go off that edge. And there's that one. And I'm going to do the very last one right here. Huh? Right there. And as you can see, I had paint on my fingers and got it on there. So now I'm going to have to work to try to get that off. One up, and then I'm going to just set that aside to be cleaned, and I'm going to clean off my fingers. And I was working quickly and I didn't, and with it being a dark color, I don't know if it's going to come off. I might make a bigger mess. by trying to get it off. We're gonna give it a shot. Sorry, my head's in the way. If I can get it just light, then I'm not real concerned. Because when it's hanging outside, you're not going to notice it anyway. Okay. So I'm not going to go any more in there because I don't want to make a mess out of it. But there is, and I'm going to go in and just get those dry. Hey, Missy. Thanks for popping on. So what does everybody have planned for this Friday? All right. And now I have all of those areas dry, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this completely up, just like so. And I'm going to set it aside. And as you can see, some of the ink did go through. So I'm just going to grab, yes, Missy, it is ink. I'm just grabbing my disinfectant wipe. And I'm just going to wipe over and get all that ink that went through off of my mat. Then I'm going to sit it aside and let it dry. And I'll just sit it off to the side of my workstation and let it dry. And then I'm going to pull in our finished project so that you guys can see it. And that is our little flag that I'm going to hang outside. And I'm going to bring you guys back down to me. Woo! Sorry, you guys are seeing my crazy ceiling. We had a roof leak. But I wanted to show you, and actually I'm going to turn you around again so that you can actually read it correctly. But this is our little Home Sweet Home, Romeo and Juliet. Ooh, haircut today, yes. But there's our little flag that's going to go out in my yard, out in my flower bed. And later on today, I will go live and show you guys all the cool things that my sister has worked on while she's been here. And I'll show you exactly where I'm hanging that particular flag. So then what I'm going to do now that it's pretty much dry is I'm going to use some parchment paper, put some parchment paper down over the entire design, and I'm going to heat it with a regular iron. If you have a heat press, it's 350 for 30 seconds, I believe. If you're doing it with an iron, it's a hot iron for 4 minutes on each side. And then it will be completely permanent. You can wash it. It should say Gnome, Sweet Gnome. Yeah, I thought about that, but I don't have the words to do it. I thought of that too. That would be really cute, Gnome, Sweet Gnome. But I don't, so I didn't do it that way. But that is a really cute idea, Missy, and I may have to try to figure out a way to do that for the other flag that I have. But then that'll make the flag permanent, and I can wash it, and it won't matter that it's out in the elements outside. If it rains, it won't run. So that's the last step that I'm going to do, and then clean up all of my supplies for today. And like I said, I will go live later on this morning and maybe it'll be this afternoon, but probably be this morning or maybe this evening, that sometime today, I'll put it that way, I will go live and I will show you my new flower bed and my bird feeders, and then where I'm hanging this particular flag. So thank you for jumping on this Friday morning, and thank you for being a part of Foxy Chick Designs family, and I appreciate all the support and you guys allowing me to have a little bit of your time a couple times a week to come and just craft with you and show you some really neat designs and some really neat home decor. Thank you again for watching. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Friday. I will see you again tomorrow morning around 9 o'clock for our Saturday morning chalk and sip. So make sure you have something to drink and hop on and join us for some more fun. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.